And then we have yearbook. I know at leadership they mentioned we weren't doing it, and then the alumni said, okay, we graciously volunteer and we'll do that a little later, but everything is still due at the same time. Okay? And Danny and Deborah will talk more about the details with the yearbook, give you some samples to see, and then Kenneth and Molly will follow up on that with a little more of the detail and some of the changes that are coming. We don't have lots of details. Okay, so a couple of the things, the awards that you actually apply for in the Texas region, we have 3. We have the Icarus Award. The Icarus Award is about a service project that your chapter has done. And you just write it up. It's not a long essay. It's an easy one to write up. It's not a service project. Many of your chapters do a lot of additional service projects, and this is a way to honor those extra projects. Okay?
That's good.
Okay. The award that comes with this one is really super cool. All right, it's kind of a 2-component thing. Your chapter gets this really, really pretty trophy that goes back. And that sounds cheesy, but it is one of the prettiest trophies I've ever seen.
And that's what you want.
And it comes with a scholarship to Texas Honors Institute. It's a nice one. Okay. The yearbook also gets you an Honors Institute.
Because Alphagan High, Austin Community College gets the 2nd place, and that also gets scholarship to Honors Institute, Texas Honors.
All right.
The Icarus one?
Yeah. The Icarus Award gets 1st and 2nd place. 1st place gets a trophy, 2nd place gets a certificate. Both of them get scholarships to Texas Honors.
Yes.
Is the honor the same as the honor?
Honors Institute. Mhm.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
the one that was this past summer.
Yeah, okay.
Just didn't want you to think you were going to get that week-long one somewhere else. There's a
Texas
difference.
Honors. But it's fairly expensive, because that includes food and going.
Right.
It's a nice winning package deal. We also have the Tejas Award, which is called it's the Friend of Texas Award. This is for someone who is not a member of Phi Theta Kappa that has done something nice for your chapter.
Really?
A past recipient, Bluebell. Bluebell, the ice cream company, they've been a Tejas recipient. They used to donate, and they still do, but they used to donate to all of our conferences. We had one year where they even donated free bars, cups, all kinds of stuff for international convention one year. Wow. Yeah, they've done a lot of really neat things for us over the years. So they were a Tejas recipient. Yes?
So it's open to people too, though, right?
Yes, it's open to companies, individuals, anybody, any entity, as long as they are not Phi Theta Kappa.
So family members have done
We've had family members be nominated. We've had campus nurses, the campus nurse be nominated because of she partnered with a project. Things like that. Make sense? Then we also have corporations as well.
Okay.
Robert.
Can it be somebody that has been, like, when they were in junior college years ago, and they happen to work at the college, maybe they're an alumni?
As far as I know, you cannot be a member or alum to be nominated or tabled.
Even if you're a former advisor?
Member is an advisor.
Okay.
Now remember, we have some advisors who are members, they would not be eligible. Because they are still a member. I heard you, just hang on.
What about honorary?
That would be that's gonna be one you'll have to talk to Debbie Esparza on. All I know is what the rubric says is members are not eligible. It doesn't differentiate, so that's all I have. Dr. Reynolds.
Honor members are eligible to examine the
Okay.
Okay.
Honorary members have one before, so there we go. You asked where it can be found. All of our Texas Hallmark awards will be posted by November 15th on txptk.org. So you'll be able to find the cover sheets and then the rubrics for the 3 awards for Texas. The other awards you actually submit through headquarters, and they're for Texas as well. College project, you don't submit twice, you submit once, honors and action, things like that. Can I?
You haven't got the third one.
Huh?
You've only done 2.
I haven't done the third one.
Okay.
Molly, did you have
I
something?
was just making sure she.
Oh, wait.
Okay. The third one is I had to write this one down, it's a long title. Pinnacle Continued Excellence Award for Advisors. They have had no nominations the last 2 years, by the way.
What?
No nominations. Here's the reason. There's a catch with this one. The Pinnacle Continued Excellence Award for Advisors. The advisor eligible for this one has won all of the other previous advisor awards. And basically, they can't win anymore. All right?
Except for this,
So this one gives them that other option, especially for those long-term advisors. Nancy, I'm going to pick on you. You're one of our long-termers. This would give her chapter an opportunity.
She's received it.
She may not have won an advisor award in Texas for a while, but we know she's won them all, okay? But it would be a great opportunity for her chapter to acknowledge her in that aspect. The gaps, I'm not saying you've done them all, I'm just giving an example of the time frames.
I know, but I don't think they can win that one again either.
No, they can't. I wouldn't, just once. But it gives those advisors that have won everything that they can the extra opportunity to win something else.
Once they won that, it's over. No more fun.
Well, you still have the international continued excellence.
True, true.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Somebody over here has a hand up. No? Yes.
and where do we find the information on, is that also on that website?
That will also be on the txptk.org, and it will also be up on the November 15th list.
I think that might be, is that where I can find out who, that the advisors are the one?
No, that would be.
No, the group that keeps that list, you can speak with Kenneth over here. He is one of them that has access to that database.
Candace, I forgot to tell you the date for Texas Awards.
Okay?
January 29th.
So same as college project on
No, day after.
Day after.
That's right. You do them all.
Molly, are we the
No,
same?
she's not the same age as you. She's just the same birthday.
We share a birthday, but we're not the same age? How's
That
that
is
work?
correct. You are older than I am. Forgiven.
Only a little bit.
I was trying to help you out.
Look, I knew Molly when she was a student.
So, Jim, I want to make sure that everybody heard that. Your regional awards are January 29th at 5 p.m.
You get an extra day on the regional.
That's correct. We like to let you breathe.
Yes.
Well, since we're all central.
Good clarification.
Except for El Paso.
Oh, that's right.
Except for El Paso, that's right.
It's still simple for them.
Are they really?
No,
I mean, but they have.
their deadline is still
There it is.
central.
Yeah.
But
Got it, she started.
El Paso, 5 o'clock, Central Standard. So the 29th. Now, college project and honors and action are due on the 28th at 5 o'clock. I should have gotten to that one.
When Molly and I first become the same age.
Once you're both gone from this world,
He'll still be older.
Tell my mom.
it's when we stop thinking.
all right, did I cover all of the Texas one? I haven't seen the list in a while for Texas, so I want to make sure, were those the 3 that, okay. And then the ones for outstanding officer, outstanding member, advisors, all of that, those submissions are the ones from headquarters, you submit that way. But there is a checklist for Texas that you'll complete, yes, we're turning this in, yes, we're turning this in, things like that. Same for administrator and all that.
So is the, for those that are both international and regional, is it the same application for both, or is it a different process for regional than international?
The international, you will submit the the regional, you'll submit the checklist.
Okay.
If it's one of these three that I just told you about, the Tejas, one of those, the Icarus, the application is on the checklist as well. It'll be on there and you submit, it'll tell you exactly how to submit for those. And they'll go to the Texas region.
Cool.
The ones for like college project, honors and action, things like that, they're submitted directly to headquarters in that upload.
Yeah.
And then on the checklist for the Texas region, you just say we submitted it, that kind of thing.
Cool, cool.
And then to finish that statement, international then sends us the scores, as the region has. Okay, so if you're doing something like college project, you submit it internationally, there is nothing on the regional level that you need to do for college project. We will get that information, you don't have to stress it out.
So we only have to submit one time.
Right.
Because I heard somebody say you can submit twice HIA.
No, it used to be that we had to submit 2 copies, but that was when we were turning in hard paper copies and headquarters had piles from you know where.
All right, so we only have to do it once.
Just once, one upload, that's it. Any other questions on those pieces? Okay. We've kind of condensed, we've kind of expanded. We gave you a little extra time for lunch since we were all piling in one tiny area. We have a little extra cushion right now. What we're going to do is kind of expand the yearbook section just a tiny bit because we do have lots of things going on with that right now. I'm going to turn it over to Danny and Deborah for now, and then they will turn it over to Kenneth and Dr. Harris to kind of finish up with yearbook stuff.
Yeah, like, Ken was saying a while ago, yearbook had been canceled, is it saying on? Throw me money, can you hear me?
I don't know what mine's on.
Hello? All right, we were not going to do it, and now we are going to do it, it's just going to be at a later time, all the deadlines are the same. Rubrics may change a little bit, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the rubrics as they are at this point in time. And Deb's going to show you a couple of the examples of really cool yearbooks. I've helped judge yearbooks for about, am I supposed to tell anybody that? I didn't hear that.
What'd you say?
I need this.
Well, we've all been on the judging committee at one point in time.
Yeah.
Bill, can you do me a favor? Want to turn the overhead lights on for me?
What?
I've got overhead light. I don't know what you guys did to turn it off. If you wouldn't mind turning it on. And that way we can actually see the books too.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go over the rubrics that were expanded here a couple of years ago. We added a feature. That's not on.
That's basically it.
Okay.
No, both of these were on. One set is off right now.
Anyway, we'll show you this great thing. Everybody say, wow. That didn't work.
So,
All right.
yearbooks are a great way to showcase what your chapter has done for the year. It's a great marketing tool. Also, you can display them at inductions and stuff like that. Also, orientations when you're recruiting new members. Because it just shows all what you've done and you've accomplished and throughout the year. So even if you don't win an award or if you don't submit it for an award, it's a great marketing tool for the chapter.
Okay, we're going to quickly go over the guidelines. Hopefully you can see this up here. The theme, you do not have to base it on an honors topic or anything specific. It can be something specific to you, not necessarily to the region. One year, our chapter did one based on the state of Texas. Go figure that. And what we had in it, which it has to be throughout, and it has to be consistent. We did little facts, little factoids about the state of Texas. So you'd open it up, and one little thing would be saying that Texas has, 344,000 square miles or whatever. Another one would say something like Brewster County out in West Texas is bigger than the entire state of Rhode Island. And then one would be a list of all the crazy names of the cities and places, which amazingly enough we're doing today. But it'd be coal, iron, steel, cities named colors. There's a yellow, Texas, purple, green, things like that. So if you do a theme, you have to stay throughout. It needs to start on the cover, and we're going to go over the cover here in just a second. But it needs to be obvious, And it needs to be continuous, it needs to be throughout the yearbook. It needs to be, I think it's on your division pages. So anytime you open up a page in the yearbook, someone needs to go, oh, they're talking about puppies. Oh, it's about, whatever,
Make the theme interesting, make it something that they want to explore, want to look at, and something that relates to the chapter and relates to what you guys are doing for the year also helps. It's not necessarily on the same topic, but the theme of the chapter for that year. Like, for example, last year, their theme for the chapter itself, they even had matching t-shirts and everything was swag. So everything they did,
explain swag.
swag and scholars working ambitiously to graduate. And so their whole theme, they had little graduation caps at induction and stuff like that. So that's what we mean by themes. Well, here's that.
The graduation cap, and it opens up, and inside has the books.
Here's the year of the book, the chapter name, the theme, and then little
There we go.
dedication pages.
When we look at the very top of this thing, these are the elements that have got to be on the cover. When you start losing points immediately, we haven't even opened it up. Romantic. The title of the yearbook, right here, swag. The name of the chapter, alpha, zeta, eta. The name of the school, city and state of the school, that's important. Dates of the school year. Now this, currently, like I said, there may be some changes later on, but currently it's regional to regional. So 2011 to 2012, 2012, 13.
Make sure you follow all the rules. If you miss anything in the rubrics, you're not going to get the full point and you will not win. I've seen yearbooks lose by 1 point.
On the other hand, we had something tied. Then we had issues. Okay. Here's your theme again. Talk about the unity of theme. That means it just goes throughout the thing. The preamble. Can you show that? Sort of. The dedications are in the opening pages. Currently, on the scoring rubrics that we have, dedication is totally optional. You don't have to do it, but it's a point. Why would you not do it? Dedicate it to somebody who helped you out that year. It could be an instructor, it could be an advisor, one of the officers, the officer team, somebody you know, anything like that.
Here's an example of a preamble and a theme.
And basically, that's telling you what, your theme for the year, what you did for the year, what you accomplished, what you had hoped to accomplish. Your divisions, okay, here's the dedication page that they can't see because it's over there. They dedicated it to, I remember that. Okay.
No, that was actually done.
They actually did that
They did
themselves.
that. It was part of the book.
It's a whole nerdiness thing.
Like everybody's all afraid about it.
No. They don't actually mark up your book.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
And we'll have these out in front, so during the next break, you guys can peek through them and see how they work.
There's also an extra point in there for acknowledgments at the very end, to acknowledge somebody. Again, it's kind of like a dedication, but not necessarily, we would like to thank the alumni for helping us judge our paperwork and making us look so good. Alumni award of recognition. Table of contents, very important. You see how they have them divided up, and oh gosh, they're in some sort of order, aren't they? That's important. It's not an order point.
You mean in order of the hallmarks as we do it?
Yes, thank you.
Well, you can clarify, because that, you've got different views on that.
It depends on how you organize the book. You can organize, they organize it in the hallmarks. You can also probably organize it as an HIA and college project and other.
So
And
there-
then, but basically, your table of contents is just all of what's in your book
Yeah.
in chronological order.
Is that like headings and subheadings?
Yes, basically.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a moment. The proper order, table, title page, dedication page, applicable, preamble, table of contents, that's kind of important because we want to go, okay, where's the leadership part? Where's the development part? Where's the service part? Make them a little bit different. You see how they did them in different colors. It accurately reflects the chapter's history of the last year. Well, that's kind of subjective. We don't know what you did. And page, this is the thing that kills a lot of people. These silly little, you see that there? Number over there. This here. Page numbers. A long time ago, back in the dark ages, when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
When Danny was little.
Before I got my first degree. We actually did this on the international level also. So you had to be careful with your page numbers because you had to quickly adjust them within the month between what was then state convention and national convention. But you had to hurry up because you wanted to put stuff in there from that convention. But
I turned it sideways, but you can.
good. See how you can see them? We have to know what pages, that's part of the table of contents. We have to know the pages. That way if we're looking for point of reference. There's been some contention as to how to number these things. I don't care.
Textbook.
It could be 1 through 6,000. Well, okay, 1 through 6,000. Oh, we've seen that, Gigi.
The default has always been use a textbook.
Yeah.
If you grab the textbook, that very first page isn't numbered, and then you sometimes have the I, and then when they get into the body of it, 3, 4, 5, 6. As long as it's clear and makes sense, do that, because it's really going to depend on, someone's going to go, well, it's not in the, I don't know all these terms, the MLA and RFD and all this stuff they're talking about. I have no idea what that means. I'm an idiot.
And you,
Did you say yes, you are? So, number your pages. Okay. This is all part of the comprehension. Your divisions, like they were saying, you can either divide it by the 4 hallmarks.
Okay, this is possibility of something changing. It's been where you've been able to do the 4 hallmarks. We've had where you can do honors and action college project and then like other. There's been more discussion that they want to go back to a chronological, starting regional to regional, all the way constant chronological. We don't know what's coming out yet.
For example, they did, the way they did it is the 4 hallmarks, and they went chronological within the 4 hallmarks. So either way, you just want to be chronological through the whole yearbook. Each way you do it. If we break them up into sections, the sections will be chronological. If the whole yearbook is just one yearbook, the whole yearbook will be chronological.
Yeah.
So basically, everything is consistent. Everything is the same.
Here's the hard part on copy, and journalism person over here. Hey, the copy, that's just basically telling us what's going on with the page. You're going to start your page. Page should have a headline describing what's on that page. It's an event of some type. 2014 spring induction. Okay, that can be your headline copy. We need to know what's going on that page. Then each photo that you have on there needs small copy under it. As many people as you can identify in a photo. If it's if it's 3, 4, 5 people. If it's an induction photo, you've got 182 people. Okay, newly inducted members would be sufficient. It needs to either be typewritten, which I know is the wrong term. If you handwrite it, make sure that person is awesome, because then it becomes sloppy. Well, we need to know what's going on that page, who are these people, what are they doing? You can't have just a bunch of pages of pictures, of people going, members enjoying dinner. Well, members, okay, are they from your chapter? Are they from a visiting chapter? And dinner for what? Dinner for what they have is a lasagna, because I love lasagna. Things like that. So, how about Alpha Zeta Eta officers, dinner for whomever, they're doing a roast of one of their instructors or something. Do you have an example? She has an example. Okay. Okay. There you go. If you can read that, it's the Texas Regional Conference, March 7th through the 10th, 2013 in Fort Worth. We had to travel so far, just kidding, but having fun with the Texas Regional Conference in Fort Worth, Texas. And underneath, after listening to inspirational speaker Joshua Hammond's full of swag and ambition. Okay. It's legible, it tells you who's doing what. Joshua's swagging and then visionizing and copyright.
It helps if you guys actually type up all your captions and your copying of stuff, because we want it to be all legible, so we can read everything.
Some of us have over 4 times.
And somehow, even if you think you have legible handwriting, it doesn't necessarily mean you can carry through that legible handwriting throughout the book.
Okay, the presentation, this is the book itself. Required elements for presentation. Is it sturdy? These are ready to be, these are to be looked at. Okay? People can come and look at these at one point in time. We guard the room, so there's always somebody there, so somebody doesn't come in and try to tear up somebody else's yearbook. I know that sounds stupid, but it has happened in the past. Especially if they decide to look at them before judging it. And I don't know that we do that anymore because of that. I swear this coming. But it has to be sturdy enough for at least 3, 4, 5 judges to flip through and look at. And then after all the judging and stuff, then they're set out for people to come and look at. We've had them explode on us before. The biggest thing, I will tell you right now, the number one thing are the binders. The binders. The thing that just holds it together. We've had string, we've had yarn, we've had staples, we've had those big brads, we've had all kinds of things. And some of them don't work. Some of them just fall apart. There goes, if it's already flimsy, we're just not going through it, it's not going to last.
And it basically needs to last because, again, it's for you to use over and over and for multiple people too. So if you can do this multiple times, and this is a year old, and we can still do this, and it still survives. So durability is important.
There's your consistency again, consistency of everything, but mostly they're still talking about your team and keeping everything in chronological order. Again, each page is numbered, and clear navigation, well, that's for the digital entries. I can't speak on the computerized yearbooks. I have no clue. The computer. This part. Clear navigation.
Clear navigation, if you're doing a digital book, and you can do that, but you cannot submit a digital and a hard book. You have to choose one or the other. Couple of different things. You have to be, your yearbook has to be self-sufficient. Okay? You have to provide the computer. There's no guarantee of an internet connection. If you have sound and it doesn't work, when the judges push the button, if it's supposed to do something and it doesn't, that's part of the grading. All right? I know one of the books last year had these little arrows at the bottom, and you used the little mouse and you clicked on the arrow and it flipped the next page. Easy direction on what to do and how to go back and forth. It also had a link at the bottom of every page that you could click it and it went back to the original table of contents, so you could click into the table of contents as well. So we've had a lot of variety with the digital books, but on the navigation, it must be very clear on how to navigate, even if that means you type up a sheet and say, if this logs off, here's the login and how to get to it. Because if your computer logs off and they're judging, and they don't know how to log back onto that computer to pull it up, then the other judges may not be able to judge that book.
Most importantly, and this came up last year, I think it was, power cord.
Yes.
They're kind of handy.
Yeah, we had one book that it died. The computer ran out of battery.
So provide a power cord. It'd be a good idea to have someone else bring another one, just in case something happens. You misplaced it, it didn't make the trip, something like that.
And then they're graded separately. We don't grade a digital book in the same category as the hard books.
Because it's just too hard to compare.
Yeah, there's
But can the hard books be, like, I notice that that's like a lot of handwriting or cutting and the actual casing itself. Can you make a, like, for example, from Shutterfly, you can create books?
You can. The catch with those is it must be some kind of creative thing that makes us want to read it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those are so cookie cutter,
Right.
and all you've done is throw a bunch of pictures and it puts them on the page.
I know in the past other chapters have done this where if it do it. There's other, I think Mountain View and other chapters have done straight scrapbooks where everything was hand cut, everything was handmade, and stuff like that. It's up to the chapter what they decide they want to do.
We've also had two chapters that run with digital books, by the way. I'm not digital books, I'm sorry, with it wasn't Shutterfly, but it was something like that, at least you'll know what I mean. One of them won with, it was St. Philip's, and they won one year with a comic book.
Yep.
It was so neat. You looked at the cover and you're like, I cannot wait to get into this book. And it was so well done. It was a comic book.
They turned all their officers into
Comic book heroes,
every
everything.
comic hero, and they carry that theme throughout the thing. So basically, you have to carry a theme throughout your thing and make it interesting.
Another book that we had win, this was from Austin Community College. Austin had one. They did a yearbook, like a real yearbook. But it was so well done. It didn't look like your typical high school yearbook. It was just so creative and so well put together. And it ended up having spiral rather than bound. It made it easier to flip the pages and keep them open. It was just the way they did the graphic concepts on each page was so different. We were all just like, this is so cool. So.
I'm going to give you a quick insight into what we're using for rubric here. This is an actual definition that we use. Current, again, there may be some changes to make. I will follow this until you hear otherwise. The required elements, you've gone over, everything overall. Cover here, comprehensive content. Let's see, I have another one of those. Again, page numbers clearly labeled. That's in here like twice. If you mess up on your page numbers, that's 2 points on.
Talking about content and creativity and stuff like that, your pictures, when you put pictures in there, don't put post pictures of you standing there all with a chapter going like this at an event. Because it gets boring looking at all those post pictures. It's like, okay, yeah, they were here.
Get some action photos. You guys out there doing something.
Action photos are great. I mean, we're not saying you can't put any post pictures in there, but you have a post picture and then an action picture of you guys cleaning up trash, of you handing out things, of you speaking, of you doing things, goes a long way.
Working in your garden,
Yes.
what's the food garden, what's it called?
Some of them have the can gardens.
And so, when you're looking at all these books and they're all post pictures, you need to set yourself apart from your books.
One last thing I want to show you here. About 2 years ago, Kenneth, was it 2 years ago? We added this one?
Is that the creativity
Yes, sir.
section?
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. We added this, and I'll tell you why. We go through quite a few yearbooks. And if you hit every single thing on here, which no one has yet, I don't know that we've ever had a perfect now 38. It used to be 33, but now it's 38 at this point in time. Somebody messes up somewhere, or some of it, a little bit, not all of it, but just a little bit of this is subjective. The one that says interest of the theme. Well, that's kind of subjective. Okay, so if your theme is like food, I'm interested. If it's My Little Pony, not so much. Okay? So that's subjective. You know, do I want to explore this thing? It's got polka dotted unicorns on it? Not really. But this one's based on the Dallas Cowboys. Haters hush. I'm interested now. Okay? So in theory, and it's come close or has happened, you have something that's, they hit the points, they hit the points, they hit the points. It's boring. Okay? It's not so much, it's black and white as vanilla. It's just there, but they hit the points. It wasn't great, but anyway. And this one over here was super cool, but it missed by a point. Because it had the technical aspects. So we decided to bring in this creativity category for something that was just way out there, like St. Philip's. In fact, St. Philip's had two yearbooks that were just ridiculous. They had the Phoenix one, and then they are also the ones that did the comic book. It's awesome. So we did that so we could say if they did something just way out there and it was awesome, they deserve extra points for that. So that's what that one's for. So think a little bit outside the box.
What is the one, I think it was El Paso's book,
The cover.
that big wooden one, was
Oh,
that
yeah, that was El
Paso?
Paso.
No, I think it was.
No, that was-
El Paso. It was the 5 elements, and it's like, it was in a wooden frame that they hand carved, somebody in their chapter hand carved this thing. It was on this big rod, and you opened this, I mean, it was gigantic.
The pages were like this.
It was huge. We were all like, I cannot wait to get into this book. It had lights all over it. I mean, it was really cool looking. And so we were able to give them, wow, credit on that creativity scale.
Unfortunately, their content was
Is there a time limit on how long the digital is going to be?
That has not been established yet. The catch with that, we were really concerned about that. It just hasn't been updated into a separate set of rubrics. You have to understand that if we get 20 books, 20 digital books, if yours is too long, we're going to fast forward through some things. So at this point in time, not necessarily, but you wouldn't want it to have to take longer than about 5 minutes. That's about how long most of them have been taking to go to look through it, and then we go back and then we grade it. We always review them completely first, and then we go back and grade.
How long is it, how, if there's a book, so they 20 pages, 15 pages?
There's no minimum or maximum.
It's all about what you feel needs to be in there. We want some diversity and some thickness to it, but it's up to the chapter.
Just remember, the thicker you make it, the harder it's going to be,
It depends on your, what it is, what you've got it in. If it's like a box, and we're opening pieces out of a box, you could, have more stuff than a notebook.
Questions on the yearbook? We know we kind of blew through it, but
And
you should already have this if you don't, and we'll let you know if there are any changes.
When will we get our information on?
Well, hang on to that question until Molly and Kenneth get to come up.
We're talking about themes and stuff. This theme was risky, and it wasn't always, they didn't completely get it.
I'll hold it up and kind of flash it on that.
We had to come back to this one 4 times because we didn't get it.
And so make sure your theme is clear, and also make sure you start ahead of time. Start chronological. Start saving all your stuff into files and start compiling things and work on this yearbook early.
Sexy, and I know it.
Get it ahead of time, because one of their problems with that one, why they couldn't completely do, is they ran out of time, frankly. And so basically it was Blaine's classes, and they only did the front cover cutout. They didn't do the whole cover and other things.
Let's explain something. Blaze is their mascot. Okay? This is their mascot, and this cover is his glasses. We're seeing their yearbook through Blaze's eyes. And we saw the tape, and it was like, okay, there is no way this chapter would have slapped tape on a book if there wasn't something intentional about it.
And
So
the
in other words,
screw.
put it to the side. Yeah, there was a screw here that's come out. All right, a screw, it's, the hinge screw for the glass, okay? And, I mean, there were some weird, funky things. We were like, what on earth is the deal with this book?
Then we finally got it.
Yeah, I think it was the book, somehow I had flipped it upside down like this because I wanted to know what page I was on or something. And it was like, oh my gosh, hold on. And this was after probably the 4th time we'd looked at the book, and there were 3 of us looking at it going, I'm clueless. Had we not caught what it was, they would have been probably on the bottom of the totem pole of this book. Okay? They took a huge risk with this particular book. It paid off because we were able to figure it out. But had we not figured it out, this one was a rough one.
If they could have expanded on the glasses
On the frame, yeah, and done a little more, have it open up, the different
but they ran it at times, so,
The
because
content
they
is,
weren't,
The content was there, the content was there.
because they weren't, doing it ahead of time and weren't prepared enough for it.
right up here. Kenneth and Molly, you guys have more information. They have more information about the yearbook and any possible changes that might be coming on.
That's Dr. Molly Baker right now. Dr. Molly and I have been asked by Debbie we're part of a committee to come up with changes to the rubrics, and our charge was to have something ready by December 1st. So that's our goal right now, is to have something by December 1st. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to get some feedback from you as students, advisors that are here as well, your comments and things there. We do know, as they talked about, there's some changes that we are working with some of the past judges to get what they want to see in some of the rubrics that they've seen issues in trying to judge that. So we're trying to get that information together. But I think Molly is going to facilitate this, just kind of get some ideas from you so that we can take this back to our committee that's working on this and try to get some information put together so that we can get this out to you.
So I'm curious, how many of you guys have submitted yearbooks in the past? Okay, some of you may not know it because it's been years before you, or those because I know my chapter didn't raise their hand, so we passed before. I get that. So one of the things that I think of, and this is in the advisor role, of working with my chapter to submit a yearbook, and also as a student when I submitted a yearbook, is understanding what is the purpose of the yearbook on your campus. Do you only do it because you want to be competitive within Phi Beta Kappa, or do you keep them and hold them for historical purposes? So why do you do, or why would you do a yearbook on your campus? This is where you talk. Okay, recruitment's good?
To show your administration what you've been doing.
Bragging rights?
Yep.
To get new members interested.
Okay.
To kind of leave a legacy to your new members so they know where to go and what to do, kind of the steps of do's and don'ts.
Interesting, okay. If I need to repeat any of these, y'all let me know.
Got to be a good fellowship opportunity for the chapter to crack it open every now and then. It's not as small, but
Okay.
Tyler has a closet. I pull him out every once in a while, and it's hilarious. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the clothes. It hasn't changed.
So you had a broad overview of what has been expected in the past. What are some of the strengths of the current process that you perceive? What are some strengths? Some of the strengths of the current process, things that you really like about the way we do it now.
I like the way it's organized by Hallmark.
Okay.
Yeah.
The creativity, credibility.
Okay. Like to be creative, little folks. What are some other strengths in the way you see it now?
The organization from the index or the table on it.
So the structure, the way it's laid out. How many people, and this is just a show of hands, because obviously this is just an input focus group kind of situation, but how many people really like the table of contents, the title page, the structure of the book? Okay, and how many don't? Okay, good. Somebody mentioned enjoying having the hallmarks as a way to organize your yearbook. And I'm told that there was at least one with a shaken head, no, I don't like that. So I'm curious, how many of you like the fact that you can organize your yearbook by hallmarks? How many wish you had and you do? How many like another method? Did you have another method in the current process?
Dr. Molly, can I make a just comment? I did the yearbook last year for our chapter, and when I first started doing it, I hated the idea of doing it by hallmarks. But after I did it, it works really well.
Yes.
What I didn't like about it was the chronological order, because let's say we have a breakfast over here, and we have breakfast later on in the year. If we do it in chronological order, and you want to keep the breakfast together, then it's not gonna be in chronological order.
You do two breakfasts.
Yeah.
You would have it twice in your book.
Yeah.
They're separate events.
Okay. Well,
You have that.
I misunderstood that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good to clarify. There's something over here?
Why does it have to be Hallmark, could it be something else?
It can be, in the current rules, guidelines, you can do college project honors in action and other, or you can do hallmarks. I would like to see, and this is totally just me speaking off the cuff here, a strictly chronological order as well as an opportunity, as an option, not to replace the other two, but in addition to.
Well, they started with the 4 hallmarks because that's the foundation of Phi Beta Kappa, so.
We started with chronological.
And
And then the yearbook committee for our region made up of advisors changed it to the 4 hallmarks, and then they added the component of the other.
Now, chronologically speaking, it's easier to do,
yes.
obviously. But you get a little more detail and you realize what these events are for when they pigeonhole them like that.
Hallmark was,
Yes.
Yeah.
Philip?
The year, the fact that you say yearbook kind of speaks to me that it's chronological. Because, you know, when you have yearbooks in other areas, they're based on the year and it's chronological. I'm just saying, when I first thought about that before I came to this meeting, I thought it was supposed to be chronological.
Well,
I didn't read, so.
it is
I
chronological.
understand, but that means.
Okay, I'm hearing you, I'm riding.
The yearbooks go from regionals to regionals currently, is that right?
Currently, yes.
And so it's not even like what I would consider a real year, because usually we want to talk like fall, spring. Could there be a possibility of like changing that? And while it's done in the spring, maybe judge it, you know, at the next whatever.
I'm following you. I will write that down. So before I move on, are there any other strengths? I'm losing you guys. Are there any other strengths to the current process? Any of the things that you really, really like about what we do and why we do it?
Are we just judging this from the spring, or are we judging it fall up to the spring?
It's a year.
We would judge it from the last regional convention up to the next regional convention. Events that you have up until that point.
Any other? Okay.
I think that's.
So we're starting basically from Grayson College regional?
No, that was leadership. We're talking Houston of last year.
All right, yeah.
Okay, that's something, some people have no regional, some people explain.
Okay, so, stop. Okay, more than happy to talk. That's what I do for a living. So the way the current process is, the way we have it now, is you start from regional convention. And I apologize, y'all, we use slang all the time. Okay, so we say regional. Regional convention, which is our spring conference, through regional convention, or as close as you can get, right? Because you got to get the little booger done. So all the way 1 year. That's the way the current system is. When regional convention this year is in April. Late April.
So
are you up to 2013? So are we considering that as strength or not?
At this point, it's just been a discussion.
Okay, I was just curious.
Because I also noted
it's like not, but I just wanted to make sure.
I also noted, because Phi Beta Kappa has changed our calendar that we work on, we used to do the academic calendar, but because there are so many schools who are on terms and quarters and those kinds of random things, they have changed it, and now we follow the calendar, January to December. So one of the suggestions I heard, which I will be more than happy to take back to the committee, is that we follow that January to December calendar.
I think one of the weaknesses to doing it from regional to regional is the previous officers, once they're done, they're done. They're like, bye, fly coop. And so we only have one officer that's on our officer team who was an officer last year. The rest of us are all new.
You don't have old pictures?
Honestly, they change something.
If you're alumni.
I'm serious, if you're gonna use it from that year to year, it's still pictures. If that person was there, they can still write about it.
Okay, so, and that's part of what we can address maybe at a regional workshop, is how to, keep up with all that stuff and how to follow through on it. It's one of those things, I know the first year, wearing my chapter advisor hat, the first year we did a yearbook, I didn't have half a year. Because we didn't know we were gonna do a yearbook until about this point of the year. And so you just kind of threw it together and make your best. So sometimes you may have to take a hit, you know, if you're not there already. Like if you haven't started your honors and action right now, maybe you're kind of a little stressed and working on that, right? It's okay, sometimes you just gotta take that pause.
One of the benefits of organizing the yearbook by Hallmark or by project is because if you don't have a historian in May, June, July, and they don't join until August, you're not worried about those months that you've missed. So
Very well put.
on what you have done is that Hallmark. So to do it chronologically, focusing on months.
It may be a little more challenging.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point, good point. Any other weaknesses, things that you wish you could change? Pie in the sky. Yes.
Don't have the page numbers through 3 sections.
Well, okay, we got it.
Right.
Is there, maybe already, and I'm just unfamiliar with it, is there a workshop or to help someone, help a group know, for instance, our group, we don't have any alumni from previous, to see how it's done? Obviously, you said we don't have, is there a way to help us put one together?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say your regional alumni association would be more than happy to help there.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they can't do it for you, but they can certainly answer questions and provide insight. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any way to change it from yearbook to actually saying scrapbook? Because it seems like that's really what you guys are doing.
They're not all scrapbooks.
I will tell you this. I will tell you that I have not been on this committee in the past, but I'm going to write it down, and I will discuss that with the committee.
It's just when you say yearbook, there's a picture that comes into your mind. And doing an online this and doing a put together of that.
So maybe a definition?
Okay, I'm being told that Danny wants to field that question, so I'm going to let him know.
I will, and the reason I particularly want this question is because I did have to talk a lady off a ledge about 2 or 3 years ago. She was a member of a professional scrapbooking group, scrapbooking, not yearbooking. We have our rubrics, they have theirs, and they are way different. She did scrapbooking for a living for people. They would bring stuff, and she would make yearbooks, scrapbooks for them. And was it you? Okay. Okay.
That's why a yearbook and a scrapbook are totally different.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference in the way you put them together. As far in the world of professional scrapbooking, they have, a set of rules like this, and they're so far apart different than our rubrics here, which I wouldn't mind if we changed the scrapbooking. But it's different, and she put their yearbook together, and it was a gorgeous yearbook. And they got like half the points because they didn't follow the rubrics. And she was crying and upset big time because they did so poorly. And she said, but I followed all the rules of our scrapbooking. I do this for a living. I said, we're not making a scrapbook. We're making a yearbook. These are the rules. And I'm not trying to be ugly, but these rules are these rules, and your rules are your rules. We're not playing football rules versus baseball.
Okay.
Yes.
So then it sounds like we're at semantics and we need to find a compromise. So it's not technically a yearbook because the yearbook has photos of people, it IDs them, it does certain things, right? Scrapbooks does certain things. So maybe if you take both words off the table, you just say, membership, memories, memory book,
Okay, so the last thing I'm worried about at this point is what the heck we call it. I'm really not. I follow you. I agree with you. I'm not worried about that. I think Danny's story is simply that a woman, and I don't even know this story, was upset because the rubrics weren't followed, but maybe she didn't know about the rubrics. So I really don't care what we call it at this point. So yes.
If we do call it memory books, I really do think we should follow up academic pattern. Because, yes, our officers do graduate after the spring semester, so that should be very expensive.
having our own experience, this upcoming experience.
But that's part of the reason why it is from regional, because at regional is when we get our new officers for the region, okay? Many, if not, well, I don't know, I can't speak to all of the chapters here in Texas, also elect new officers at the end of that semester in spring, typically. That's why you have the new regional officers and their pictures for the year, the new chapter officers and their pictures for that year. That's why they changed it from January to the end of December to regional, because most chapters were electing their folks in the spring, the same time we got our new regional officers. So you didn't have regional officers from last year with the new chapter officers from this year.
So the purpose of this conversation is not to find solutions. The purpose of this conversation is for me to pick your brain. So that we can go back and talk to the committee. My goal is to make this as equitable and encouraging to every chapter. I want everyone to feel like they have a real purpose and that they have a reason to chronicle their year. And so on that end, I'm hoping that we can provide enough opportunities and enough options that everyone will find a way to make this really work and be meaningful. So that I just want y'all to know that's my personal goal.
Okay, so then if that's the friction and it's not solution thing or whatever, then a weak point is the fact that we have to reinvent the wheel every single time.
Can you clarify that for me?
When it comes to learning the rubric, having our officers do, all that kind of stuff. So earlier it was mentioned having a workshop or something like that. So I mean, that seems more.
That also goes back to your
So I'm curious if we had this, it was a little more structured and in place, because we're in a flux right now. But if we offered more opportunities at our regional events for Yearbook, like we do for Honors in Action and College Project, would that be beneficial? Okay. Noted.
I know, you're just making notes, but that's one of
the rubrics is now. I had another question a minute ago and I forgot. Okay.
An hour and a half.
Any other last comments, concerns, suggestions? I'm more than happy to. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. As we're working on the committee, we may come across other questions, and we'll want your feedback. And advisors, this is for you too. So be watching the Texas Region Facebook page, because occasionally I may throw up a question, and you can just click a little button item and give your feedback there. So I really want to use you guys, because you're the ones who have to do this. So the committee is made up of some people who have judged in the past, and then we're getting the voices from judges from this past year. But those who actually have to do it now, I want your voice too. So stay engaged on our Facebook page and watch for those questions, and then provide feedback whenever it's requested. That would be very helpful.
Somebody actually just made a suggestion. It doesn't necessarily all mean I have to go with the yearbook, but they were talking about discussing the yearbook and sharing pictures and stuff during like an officer training thing where the old officers will train the new officers and they can share their information about the yearbook and also do some notes and information for them whenever they cross over. So that it could solve their not having pictures or not knowing what the other officers did.
Any other last comments? These will be due at Texas Honors Institute, and that is typically at the end of July. So you've got some time on it. This year will be a little different as far as whatever we decide calendar-wise, simply because we're doing it at Texas Honors instead of being to a regional convention. So understand that. But I look forward to a lot of entries and a lot of interest in this wonderful part of Texas Region. Thanks, guys.
That's